So today is exciting. I am officially 27 years old. To some people that's gonna seem really young and to others that's gonna start to feel a little old. You're at that like wonderful age where you're like not really a child anymore. But like when you look comparatively at your life and you talk to older people, we're talking like 70s, 80s, 90-year-olds, and you're like, I'm 27. They're like, you are still a child. Like you are still at the early part of life. And then when you talk to people who are like 15, 27, you like are like a legit adult at that point. You're at just that fun middle of life stage that lasts for a long time. But this is like the first year I really actually feel like an adult and that like I'm doing what I want with my life. Things are going very well and like I feel like I'm on the right path for so long, so many years. Felt like I just wasn't quite where I wanted to be. And I think I'm there now. And I think it does come down to a couple factors. Like that whole you have to be like 25 when your brain's done developing. I think that was a big part of it. And then also going through and just getting to like really be an adult and follow the things I want to do has been huge. Because like working different jobs I thought would make me feel like a grown-up, but it didn't. Ironically, turning 25 and then really pursuing the career I want to do has made me feel like an adult the most. Because now when I work all the time. Like I don't really take days off. And like my off days, I'm still working. It's just more of like the funner work that I have to do. Like during the week is when I read through my witchy books. And like the weekends is when I read through a fiction book and I take more days to do it. Because these I usually read in about a day. Like I just take an afternoon and go through them. And like during the week is when I do writing stuff. Speaking of which, I will do a full video on this I think later this week. I got the hardback though. This is, oh, so excited. I also got it and it was a very blustery day so it is like covered in dirt from outside. But yeah, my official legit actual witchy book is well on its way to publication, so make sure to check that out next month. I don't have links, but it'll be available soon. But yeah, that hardback is awesome. Even though it's more expensive to make and the profit margin is not fantastic, like it's just, oh, having a hardback though, I'm biased. I love hardback books. They are my favorite. If I could pick between the two, I usually pick a hardback because like you can throw that in just about any bag and it's gonna live. Paperbacks, they're very temperamental and you put them in wrong and everything gets folded and awkward and those are pretty stable. But anyways, moral of the story, being 27, I don't know where I really thought I would be in life when I turned this age, but I don't know that I'd be where I am now, but also I don't know that I wouldn't be where I am now. Because here I am, married, just about to go into our first official anniversary of being married. And I mean, we've been together for like 6 years, so it feels like it's just the same. Like being with a ring on our fingers didn't really make a difference. Like we've basically been husband and wife the whole time anyways. But you know, being 27, being married, and having almost 4 books published, I'm working on my 5th one as we speak. This one is in the editing process of other people, so it's out of my hands right now, and I'm working on the next one and getting that done. And it's like, I don't know if I can start getting them done a little bit faster, but it feels like it. But also I feel like that's a little much. But when my high school reunion comes up next year, I am really tempted to be able to have all of like 10 books published at that point. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, it's just like the stuff that I'm working towards now and like the stuff that I focus on now at 27 is so different than like any other points because it is very like adult-ish and not like adult spicy, but just like adult practical of like figuring out systems to get your house cleaned, decluttering, and like your cleaning routines and just work routines, which is definitely more of a self-employed problem than a like normal job problem because I can work whenever I want. And I often do. And so I get a lot of random hours in and I just kind of spice up my schedule whenever I feel like it. And like that really works for me. And like, it feels like I'm on like the precipice of like this evolution of like really being an adult and like I have a lot of things that I think are going to be coming up in the next year that I'm very excited about, but as we know with magic, you do not discuss things before they manifest, so not doing that. But like one of the big things that I did want to manifest we have now, and that was a newer car, and it had more of the features that I wanted, so like that feels like a grown-up thing, because it's like I am tired of clunker cars, and like my last car, while I bought it new, it was the cheapest model they had, and it didn't have the stuff that I really wanted. I mean, it was definitely an improvement from my last car, but the one I've got now has all the bells and whistles, really. And the ones that it doesn't have, I don't want. Like, I don't care if I have a sunroof. That's just not something I care about. And like the seating in some cars is better than others. And like this one, it works perfectly for us, but it has like just all the stuffs that we've needed. And like, it's more money than my last car, obviously. But it's also not immediately breaking down and having issues. Like the engine was fine on my old one, but like how they put it together just kind of sucked. Like the back light, like when you open like the trunk area of the car, whatever it's called, the hatch, I guess, in your SUVs, you know, back of your car flips up. That thing, there's a light right there on my old car, and it would constantly fall out. You would hit just the slightest bump. Sometimes the brake of the gas would trigger it too. If you shut the door wrong, it would fall down and just dangle from the wires. I'm like, I feel like that's probably not good. And then the plastic rubber things at the bottom of the doors and like the back seats were constantly falling off all the time. And I didn't even have it for 3 years. So like that kind of stuff was getting old. And because we had a chaotic snowstorm thing, it was weird. It was like this, the whole like valley just got covered in sludge basically. And I went to a car wash, and never go to the touch car washes, always touchless, where it just sprays the water but you don't have things touching your car, because I did that mistakenly because they were all busy, because everyone was trying to get their clean cars, because it's like, oh my god, like just thick goo, grime, disgusting. And when I went, it scratched all of my car, and it wasn't even a year old yet. It was like, so I had to get a new paint job on that thing. So anyways, moral of the story, that car had a lot of issues for a very long time. And so the new one, haven't had any of that problem yet. Theoretically, it's going to be just fine. It's been going just fine. And so anyways, like that was one of those things that it had a lot of features that I really wanted to get. And my old car was at like the perfect trade-in time, and usually I'm not that person. Like my last car, like my first one, I drove forever. Bought that thing at like 115,000 miles, and like it had a lot of issues. I had a crap car for a very long time, so it's nice to have a nice car. Like the remote start, and like your mirrors defrost. That's glorious. I hate scraping your mirrors in the winter. It's just gonna melt it, so you don't lose where your mirror alignments are, because you're sitting there scraping off like hunks of ice every like little details. But like, listen, oh, it's so nice to have a good car. And like that's the one I'll probably have for a long time. But like that was something I wanted to manifest, and like that's a grown-up thing to like go get a car, which granted I technically don't own, because I technically don't have enough of an income to count as an income, and basically you don't exist when that happens. So my husband and my mom own my car, but eventually I can. One day when I can just pay it off and get on that title would be awesome. But until such time, cannot. But it's, I don't know, it's just like stuff like that that like as a kid I don't think I would have ever cared. And like it feels like the adult thing to be like looking at all of the random stuff of a car that has all of the features you want outside of pretty. Like outside of like, oh, it has a couple little things, like you're looking at like the horsepower and the gas tank size and like the most random like just adulty things with it that you're just like, yep, I feel like an adult. And sitting there like really analyzing like which model you want, what brand you want. Do you want to get it this year, next year? Do you want it used or not? Lightly used or not? Because like my last car is going to count as lightly used. It was under 50,000 miles, which is surprising. With the amount of drives I took that thing on, I was really surprised. But this new one, I'm just tootling along. I got it at like, it's, the paperwork said 9 miles, but when I actually got into it, it was 26, but whatever. So anyways, moral of the story is like that kind of stuff makes me feel like an adult, and like the ability to go and like having picked out the exact car I wanted and why, and like be able to know the stuff when you go in feels very adulty. And then I have other big things that I plan to do. And like in the next 10 years, I have even bigger plans of adulty things to plan and look forward to. And some of them working magic towards, some of them I am definitely waiting a few years. But it's just like, for the first time in my life, I do feel like an adult. I don't feel like a child cosplaying an adult really anymore. And like, I do really kind of feel like I'm living the life of an author. Because again, that's my job. And so like, I'm looking into like getting the, it's not quite a business card, but it kind of is. It's bookmarks. And I'm mostly having that, and I wish I could get a lower quantity because I don't need that many and it's going to get outdated really fast. But I think what I'll do is like when I publish like 10 books, I'll update them so every 10 I'm getting new cards unless I run out. But as of now, that's not an issue. But to like just start to have like the adult mindset of like, oh, well, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm an author. Oh, what do you write? Boom. These are all the books I have. I write a variety of things. And just to be able to do that, it's going to be awesome. Again, thinking of the high school reunion to be, it's like, I am going to be feeling very much like an author at that point. But yeah, like looking back on my old videos too, because I've done this a few times where it'll be turning whatever age or like leaving behind like the last day of this age. And sitting here at 27, it feels like being an adult and like really doing what I want to for career-wise. Because again, I love writing. I love having the freedom to not worry about publishing houses. Self-publishing is totally the way to go. I love it so much. So much freedom that you don't have with a publishing house. Because apparently they also restrict how many books you can publish a year, which is like bull. So like I am happy to be self-published and publishing every other month. Thank you very much. Like to be an author, to be actually like paying your bills as an author. A lot of the people that are like really successful at it are publishing very frequently. Their names you don't really necessarily know, but they do have a dedicated following and they are making money. And unfortunately, I haven't quite mastered how to get into the romance books, but that's totally where the money's at. But I have a hard time because like I don't care. I really hate most of the tropes. Like, oh, should we be together? Should we not? Like, I can't. And like the love triangles, that's an instant like DNF for me anymore because I'm like, I don't care. If you are not poly, like otherwise just go with the second person, because if you were looking elsewhere, first person wasn't enough for you. And so like it's a quick easy answer for me, and then you just drag it on for like 500 pages. I do hope my books are gonna sell and I really think this one is gonna do quite well, and I do plan to do at least one witchy book a year. But yeah, for now I'm just, I don't know, sitting here at 27, I really feel like the author and the adult that I've wanted to be for so long, and that like I'm really there. Because now I don't really feel too bad saying I'm an author now that I'm practically 4 books published. This one's really close, like a couple final fixes and it'll be done. And the next one is coming along fairly well. I don't know, like I have 9 blocks that I'm writing. I have almost 2 of those done. And so it's getting there. It's like almost a third of the way, but not quite a third. So like getting there though. And it'll be done this month for draft 1, and draft 2 will happen in August. But like, it's just, I feel like an adult. I feel like I'm like actually a grown-up now doing what I need to do, and like happily doing what I need to do. Because like the other jobs I've worked were so like soul crushing that they were just awful. And what I'm doing now, even though I do it every day, all the time, constantly, it is just so much better. Like I love how much writing I'm getting done and actually publishing and video content and reading and stuff. Like it feels like that's what I'm supposed to do. So very happy for that. I'm very excited to start selling some copies of books. That'll be really awesome. And yeah, anyways, that's kind of how I'm just spending my 27th birthday too, is work mostly. I spent the afternoon, well, I spent the morning mostly hanging out with my husband. We did some Mario Party and just kind of hung out. He had a bunch of phone calls to make, so I was just kind of there. But I did actually work, because I finished reading the Wicca Crystal Magic book from Lisa Chamberlain. Finished that today. And then I am down here recording for a bit. And then I have to get some writing done today. And then a little bit of editing. And like, I got to have my presents. I didn't bring them. I probably should have, but I got a Ravenclaw blanket and mug, and I'm just over the moon excited because I've been eyeing this blanket since I got my husband the Gryffindor one, and I'm like, I want mine. Like, it's a perfect blanket. So I'm very happy for that, and we just collect coffee mugs, so I always need a coffee mug. But yeah, so anyways, moral of the story, I am now 27 years old. I think this is going to be my most exciting year yet. I'm curious to see where I'm going to end up being at 28, because that feels like, ironically, more like, oh my god, adulting. But at the same time, like, kind of already been there, done that, because my husband's 3 years older than me, so like, he already hits the milestones first, so I'm like, I'm kind of prepared. Because like, really mentally, we're both feeling like 30, because that's how old he is going to be this year, so it's kind of like, yeah, I kind of feel in that age group more than mine or even below, like, just reaching a little bit higher. But yeah, I don't know what I'm going to look like at 28. Like, how many books do I have published at that point? Because I think by then it will be 10, because right now, as of this exact moment, I have 3 published. Again, 4th one's really close, and working on the 5th. But by that point, I think I will be like at about 10 books published, and yeah, it's gonna be a magical fun time to see what I can accomplish this year. Some of the stuff I don't want to talk about because I don't want to jinx it, you know? Can't talk about your magic, but I'm hoping that the stuff I am working on, that theoretically I will remember when I rewatch this video next year to be like, what was I focusing on? What? I'm hoping that I can happily report all the stuff that I'm manifesting right now. But like, I am where I wanted to be for a very long time. A lot of the manifestations I wanted, like I wanted to be happily married, I am now. And like, I wanted to be doing my writing and stuff full time, I am now. So it's like, I feel like I can by the time I'm 28, stuff I want to get done. So anyways, that is enough rambling for today. Thank you so much for listening to my rambles about turning 27. There's really no rhyme or reason to this video, I'm just chattering about turning old. So anyways, thank you for coming along for this video. Do make sure to keep an eye out for my death book. It is coming out in August. It is The Death Journey. Once it is available, I will have the link on my blog. You can always find it there. There is a page ready for it. It just says like kind of coming soon. It will be available in 3 formats: ebook, hardback, and paperback. I'm currently working on getting the paperwork set up for having it available on Barnes & Noble as well, if you would prefer them over Amazon. But either way, it is coming very, very soon. Huge thank you to my patrons. I'm just gonna plop their names up here so that it's easier for editing me, because I have other stuff I want to do on my birthday than edit a very long video that's already very long. So anyways, huge thank you to my patrons. There's always a bunch of content going up over there, so if you wanted to check out more stuff from me, right now I'm posting like almost 3 times a week, so there's a lot of stuff going up, so keep an eye out for that. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow. Blessed be.